What's up, my YouTube family? Sergeant Graybeard back with another Division video. Today is Friday, May 14th, and as always, I hope this message finds you healthy and safe. Today, my friends, I'm happy to bring you the first episode of Diplomats of the Division, and this is going to be a series where we celebrate the game and, more importantly, talk to some of the amazing people in our community. Now, if you happen to be new here, first of all, welcome. Secondly, feel free to hit that subscribe button. We would love for you to be a part of our gaming family. And if you enjoyed this at all, take a quick second and hit that like button. It really does help us out. So as we start off today, I want to mention a few things really quick. First of all, I've never interviewed people before, so please be patient in regards to, the audio quality, things like that. I promise you, as time goes on, it will definitely improve. I mean, chances are you're going to hear me say a lot in the interviews, and you're going to hear some of the same questions from the different guests. But again, this is something that, thanks to you, I cannot tell you enough, this is something that went from an idea to reality so quickly, and it's because of your feedback, and I really appreciate it. Your response has been absolutely amazing in regards to people that you'd like to hear from on this series, and I promise you I'm doing my best to reach out to as many people as I can, as quickly as I can, as my goal is to have one of these episodes at least once every 2 weeks. With all that being said, let's now jump into the interviews themselves, and my first one is with someone who I've been following for a while. I love the guy's channel. He's got some amazing builds and farming and how-tos. This is my conversation with COLDBWOYY. So let me start off by welcoming who is our first guest ever to this series. This is episode 1. You're the first person I'm speaking to. COLDBWOYY, thank you so much for taking the time, being here. I am a huge fan of your work, my friend.
Yeah, I really appreciate you inviting me to the show. I'm excited for this. I love your channel, man, and I'm honestly really happy to be a part of it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. I really, really, really appreciate that. So as we start off, and this is something I'd like to ask at the beginning of the interview, we're going to get into your content creation, things like that. But as a gamer, strictly as a gamer at heart, what is it about this game for you that sets it apart from other games that you've played?
I mean, honestly, man, it's just so unique. I mean, it's just difficult to find a game like The Division. I mean, obviously it's a looter shooter. You know, there's a lot of looter shooters out there. You have Destiny, and all those other big names. But for some reason, there's just something about this game that keeps pulling me back in. I don't know if it's just the gameplay. I mean, it's honestly just a mixture of everything. You know, the gameplay, the build making, the lore. There's just no other game like it. And it's really, I'm excited to hear that they're prioritizing this game. I'm excited to hear that, we have Heartland coming out, new Division 2 content. New movie coming out. I mean, I'm very excited that they're prioritizing this game and they care about it and they want it to succeed. And honestly, just love the franchise.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. And you really said something a moment ago, and this is something I hear a lot, and I'm sure you hear it as well, is that, like you said, there's something about this game. Like, no matter what, I have to get my time. I could go play another game for a minute, but I'm always coming back no matter what else is going on.
Exactly.
It's good stuff. So for you as a content creator for this game specifically, what are some of your favorite aspects in, making, whether it's build videos or farming or how-tos? Like, what is it about this game that really has drawn you to creating content for it?
Oh, I mean, it kind of goes back to what I just mentioned, the brand itself, the game itself, it's very unique. I guess the biggest thing is, I just love the community. I mean, I love sharing my love for the game with other people. It makes me happy. I put time into a game and maybe I'll make a build or I'll drop a tip or a guide or whatever it is. And I have other people commenting, thanking me, or other people joining in the comment section, helping other people out. I mean, that's the satisfaction I get out of making content for this game.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
Like I said, I mean, the game itself is it's difficult to put down. I mean, it's obviously not the most perfect game in the world. It has its issues, but at the same time, I love it, man. I love it.
So going into your builds, because I know a lot of people, when I initially, and I've said this a few times throughout certain interviews, but when I initially came up with the idea of this and I put it out on social media, your name just popped towards the top of the list without a doubt. You're known for your build videos. When you're designing ones, like what is it like in the lab? You know what I mean? Like, do you start off with, okay, I'm going to do either PvE or PvP, depending on what type of build it is, obviously, but where do you usually start? And more importantly, how do you decide, okay, this build, I mean, I guess in many ways, no builds are ever really done, but how do you decide, okay, this is what I wanted to create and then share with people?
Well, basically what I do, I'll spend some time. I spend a lot of time in the White House. I mean, there's times where I would literally just sit at the White House for a couple hours, just put pieces together, run out of materials. I have to go farm more materials, come back, recalibrate this. But before I even drop a video, before I even drop any type of content, I always have a vision in my head of exactly what I want it to look like. So for example, I'll look through my pieces, I'll farm a couple pieces of gear in the open world, and I'll try out a build. And I mean, I'll test it out in a mission. And if I feel like, I mean, hey, this is a great build, I think it would make sense for a lot of people to have a similar play style as me. And, you know, with my build videos, I show gameplay, I get pretty specific with the pieces, and I test all my stuff. And I feel like if it makes sense for the community, if it makes sense for a lot of people, if I think it's a viable build, I mean, I definitely want to share it, you know, it makes sense.
Yeah. And I can say, someone who's followed your work for a while, that's what I really enjoy about your builds. It's not only, you know, you're learning things that you want to know, but when I walk away from the video, I'm also thinking, I didn't even know I needed to know that information. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you see someone's build, you want to create it. You say, okay, I just need this piece, and this piece. And then when it's actually broken down, for me, at least when I was first starting off, I'm like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. It's awesome.
That's good feedback, man. Because I mean, that's exactly what I want people to get out of my videos. So you saying that, I feel very accomplished. So thank you.
No, absolutely. It's great stuff, because again, there are things that you don't even know that you need to know. You know what I mean? From the attributes to the, oh, wait, why don't, I didn't even realize, like, I think it was on one of your videos, and this goes back a while, where I was watching going, wait, I use this laser pointer that's going to pulse enemies, which in turn makes me, oh, why didn't I, you know what I mean? These little things that don't, you know, and it's just awesome, man. It's so appreciated. And I know a lot of people feel that way again. So thank you so much, man.
Yeah, of course, man. Like I said, thank you for the feedback. It means a lot.
So next, what do you think is the biggest misconception people have when it comes to people who create content for games?
Oh, man. Kind of a hard one. I think the biggest misconception is, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of negative stuff. People correlate a lot of negative things to people that create content for a game. You know, people think that content creators ruin games. You know, somehow people think that I just have, you know, the devs on speed dial, and I'm just telling them, hey, do this to the game, do this to the game. So
yeah, I've heard that a lot too. And you know, one thing I hear is, right, so you make a positive comment about the game and all of a sudden you're working for them, or you're getting, what I hear is, oh, how much are they paying you to say this? And I'm like, dude, my last video made me $7.81 over a month. Trust me, no one's paying me to give you my feedback.
Like you said, if I make a positive thing about the game, if I'm, for example, promoting Heartland, I'm not getting paid to do it. If I say positive things about Division 2, it's not because I'm getting paid to do it. It's because I love the game. I mean, I'm passionate about it. I get hype about new content. You know, for example, like they announced Heartland's coming out, new Division 2 content. There's a lot of people in my comment section, you know, don't get your hopes up. It's going to be trash, this, and that. But it's like, I'm optimistic. You know, I mean, I want it to be good. So, I mean, for me, I like to stay positive. That's just who I am.
No, that's awesome. And, you know, speaking of comments, you know, obviously you love making these videos because it's something you enjoy doing. I mean, the thing is, what I've noticed about your channel is it's about community. It's about, you know, the Division family, things like that. What are some of the comments you receive from some of your subs that really keep that motivation going to really continue your work?
I mean, I love my community. I love my subscribers, obviously my supporters. There's always going to be haters out there. I mean, it's part of the game.
And no matter what, in anything, someone's going to complain about something always. I mean, no matter what it is. And one thing I noticed in just doing research and watching your channel is that the feedback you get, it's your community is awesome. You know what I mean? Your family over there. It's like, it's great to see.
Yeah. I mean, I really love my community, man. I mean, all my supporters, I remember all of them. I remember those names. I try my best to reply to, I mean, you go to every single video of mine and I'm pretty much replied to maybe 90 to 95% of the comments. Like, I mean, I really try to reply to everybody. like I said, you know, haters, I mean, it's part of the game. You put yourself out there to be judged, and people are going to judge you. I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
No matter what I do, I mean, I could just spit facts, but someone's always going to disagree. But like I said, it's part of the game. But there's always those comments that just say, you know, thanks, Coldboy, because of this and that. You know, I couldn't have done it without you. I've had people message me on the side on a more personal level, just thanking me for my content. You know, it's helped them get through tough times. And I mean, that's the kind of stuff that makes it about. Yeah. Going. Yeah. I mean, that's the stuff that pushes me.
So my last series of questions are 4 questions that I'm going to ask pretty much everyone who comes on this series. First one being, if you had to choose one build that you ran with, you know, in the game nonstop, and it could be PvE or PvP, what build do you think you'd land on?
Do you want me to answer it for both sides, PvP and PvE?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, personally, one of my favorite builds to run for PvE, and when I play PvE, I really enjoy playing solo. The thing I like about playing solo is it's a lot easier to use unique builds when you play solo, because most of the time when you get a full group, NPC health goes up. I mean, more bullet sponginess. You know, you can run glass cannon, all reds, but I mean, if you have 4 people, you don't hit as hard as you hit when you're playing solo. I think we can both agree on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
My favorite PvE build, it's a build that I've been making with literally every single major title update with Division, is my Lone Wolf build. And once the Memento came out, it literally made the build 10 times better. You know, I dropped a newer version of that build a couple months back. It's a hybrid. You know, I got damage, I have heals, armor regen. I mean, the Memento backpack is literally the greatest addition.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
I hear from people every day who finally get it, you know, that say they missed out on it in a previous season. And I tell them, honestly, it is a game changer. Like, it will change the entire way you play the game in so many aspects.
Definitely. I agree. And it can be used in literally every build, no matter what your role is, you know, skill player, DPS, tank, whatever it may be. So that's for PvE. That's going to be my choice. And then honestly, for PvP, my favorite build is, I dropped a video on it a couple weeks ago. You know, it's the PvP meta build. It's Unbreakable in the chest piece, Adrenaline Rush in the backpack, Coyote's Mask, 1.5 million armor. You know, you have that survivability, you have that damage. And I mean, that's literally my go-to build. I can play solo, I can play with a team. And I honestly think if you could make one build for PvP, that is the only build you need. In all honesty.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. So I'm going to assume, based on that comment, my next question, I'm thinking I know the answer, but have you ever on your own, just you're playing on your own, you're in the dark zone, have you ever just gone rogue and decided, hey, whoever you are, I'm taking your stuff, like lights out, like that's it?
I typically don't. I mean, I don't really take people's gear. The only time I'll ever I go into the dark zone to look for a fight. To be honest,
well, obviously, because that's what it is. You're there for that purpose, you know. Like you're there for player versus player. Totally makes sense.
Exactly. I mean, I go to the dark zone to PvP. I enjoy conflict from time to time, but the real Division experience is the dark zone. You go in, you go rogue, you steal loot, you do this. That's my favorite part of the game, and that's kind of what I'm hoping Heartland is. You know. A better dark zone, but that's a different topic. But
no, I hear you, and I can say that. You're right. We'll delve into that, I'm sure another time. This leads me to my next question, which is: have you ever or come close to completely rage quitting this game because of something that's going on? I know I have. I've talked to other people, they have as well. So I'm asking you: have you ever gotten to the point where you're like, you know what, in a session where like I'm done, that's it, I'm walking away at this moment?
I mean, I might be in the minority when I say this, but I've literally played through, and I play a lot of PvP. Most of the time with PvE, I don't run into too many situations where I have to quit the game. Maybe some glitches and stuff like that, or a door not opening, or, you know, getting booted out of the raid when it first came out. That was annoying.
Right.
But in terms of PvP, I mean, I've played PvP through literally the worst and the best patches. I mean, when the Memento glitch in the dark zone, when people were just spamming bonus armor, people were running True Patriot with Pestilence and just like 120k armor regen. I mean, negotiator's dilemma. I mean, I've been through it all, man. I've never quit the game. I mean, I've been
That's
playing
awesome.
this game since literally day one.
That's
day
awesome.
one.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Final question, my friend, is besides this game, you know, if you go back to whether it's your childhood, something more recent, what is a game that changed the way that you looked at gaming entirely? Meaning you play this game and all of a sudden you're like, wow, like this is a game changer, where it just like affected how you looked at games.
I mean, all throughout my childhood, I mean, I've been playing games for a long, long time. And I never really, I would say when I started playing a little bit more competitively is when it kind of changed my view on gaming. Going back to, I mean, when Call of Duty got popular, you know, Call of Duty 4, when it came out, Modern Warfare added on Xbox 360. And that's really when I started playing online, playing multiplayer. And that's what really changed my view on gaming. I mean, this competitive play, this huge community, thousands upon millions of players just online playing the same game. That's Call of Duty. I mean, I've been playing Call of Duty for such a long time that I would say that's the game. To answer your question, Call of Duty.
That's awesome. And I mean, you know, there are so many times where I think people, what I appreciate about gaming is that, as cliche as this sounds, and I know it does, it really brings people together. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where you can be like, you know, I'm talking to you, you're on the East Coast, but as I said earlier, I was talking to people in Australia, people in South Korea. And it's one of those things where you can have those things, you can go at it, and then at the end of the day, you're just joking, laughing, stuff like that. It's just about that competition, but more, you know, more importantly, it's really building that community.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Awesome.
100%.
Awesome, buddy. Again, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time, chatting with me. I appreciate you. Your fans appreciate you. And once again, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I appreciate you having me as your first guest. I love your channel. If you ever want me on the channel again, any other opportunities, I'm always open to it.
Oh, thank you so much. I'll definitely hit you up. I mean, for me, this is kind of amateur hour in the sense of, for me, like I've never done this before. Like, I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out, you know, and I'm sure there are, you know, I know there are things I definitely want to improve, but you know, the fact that you took the time for my channel, coming here, and you're such a huge member of the community, I sincerely can't thank you enough, my friend.
Of course, man.
Awesome,
I'll always
buddy.
be here.
Thank you so much. Take care, and we will chat again soon, I'm sure.
All right, man. Take care of yourself. Have a good one.
My next guest is someone who is known throughout the Division community as an amazing virtual photographer. She's been a Ubisoft star player, and most importantly, she's just a really good human being. This is my conversation with NATALIE-AUSSIE. So first off, Natalie, I want to thank you so much for taking the time and being here today, and welcome you to what is actually the first episode of, you know, Diplomats of the Division. And again, I just want to really thank you for being a part of this episode.
No worries at all. It's such a pleasure. And thank you so much for asking me.
No, of course. And it's strange. And we talked about this a moment ago, but it's strange to feel like you know someone, even though we've never talked before. It's like, oh, I know you. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen your work. Like, it's just... It's awesome. So again, thank you so much.
It is no worries.
So one thing I noticed when I initially reached out, or not, you know, made a post about, you know, doing a series like this, is your name came up a lot. I mean, just right out of the gate in regards to virtual photography. And so my question for you is, what is it about this game, in your opinion, that really makes it, you know, such a huge thing in the community?
It's just an amazing, I don't know, look, there's so many positives about the Division. It's just a game that I fell in love with, the open world, just everything. It's just amazing. And yeah, I just love to take photos. So having both of them together, it's just me all in one. Definitely. It's I just love it.
It's really like, it's unlike any game I've played before. And I know, you know, right. It's one of those things where, you know, I'll play multiple games, and I've seen your photography in other games as well, but there's something about this game that no matter what, let's say if you take a break for a week or whatever it may be, you come back, you're like, oh, why do I bother playing anything else? You're like, this is such a fun game to play.
Exactly. It really is a one of a kind. Even the whole Division franchise, like from the Division 1 to 2, there is nothing like it. There really isn't.
Yeah.
What you can sink so many hours into a game, you can't do that with other games.
Absolutely.
Well, I not that I know of.
Well, I'm the same way. Is that for me, I
Yeah,
could play countless hours, and I have. I mean, if except obviously, you know how many hours you play. You're like, oh my gosh, I've spent 2,000 hours here. But it's one of those things
yeah.
where
I
you
know we
can
sort of
have
don't look at that, do we?
no, yeah. But the thing is you when you think to yourself, you're like, I've been playing this for 6 hours. I had no idea it was that the session was going that long. So I guess one of the next
Yep.
questions I want to ask, or excuse me, one of the first questions I'd like to ask is, when you're playing this game, do you look at it as a gamer at certain points and a photographer as others, or how do you distinguish what type of session you're going to have?
Always game first. That's what I do, and
Right on.
then it could be a bad moment where I stop and think that would be a good photo.
Mhm.
It's a very dangerous place, and sometimes asking your friends to take a photo
Right.
in the middle of that where there could be people around is a little bit deadly, but I still do it, and they do oblige. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
very lucky to have amazing friends who I've met in the game who allow me to be able to take photos of them while we're playing.
That's
And I'm
fantastic.
very thankful of them as well, because because you can't really take photos. You can take photos of yourself, but just in that one pose.
Mhm.
But to be able to get the friends to like aim or just make it a little bit
Yeah,
different is
that's what
really
to me
great.
is honestly so amazing about your work. And people at home are looking at, some of your pictures right now while we're talking, and I'm looking at these and it's just absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's unbelievable the pictures you take. And I mean, just how did you really get into this? Like, how is this something that, I guess really sparked your interest?
So it was many years ago now. It was actually on GTA where I started doing virtual photography.
Mhm.
I think about 2017.
So yeah, it wasn't, yeah.
Yeah, and then someone told me about Rockstar Editor, and I'm like, oh, in-game photos, because I actually love photography in
Mhm.
real life. So,
It's such a
and
great
just to be
hobby.
able,
Yeah.
it is, and to mix it up with another thing that I absolutely love doing, I couldn't ask for anything more. Like it was just, yeah, it's just everything I wanted, definitely.
I sincerely love how the photography has taken such a hold in communities, but also in gaming itself, because I think that's something that's something that could have been highlighted for a long time and wasn't. And I love to see that it is now.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. The games that are coming out these days, all with being able to take in-game screenshots is amazing. And I definitely feel that it's just going to get bigger and bigger as the years go on.
So I guess my next question is, what is one of, and again, this is going to be tough to pinpoint one actual aspect, but what are a few things about the Division community that you think sets it apart from just other games that you played in the past?
The friends you make, the friendships you make,
Mhm.
definitely. I've met so many amazing people on this game. Like I could actually just about cry, actually. It is just it is an amazing community. Like it really is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just we stick together, you know. It's a game that we all love, and yeah,
Mhm.
I'm just so very blessed to have met so many amazing people and who I do class as friends.
And I think that's one thing I think that gets lost sometime in times, excuse me, in gaming is that, you can make
Yeah,
those connections with people. I mean, what's amazing to me, like, we were saying a moment ago, is I'm in California, you're in
yeah,
Australia. It's incredible the connection you can have with people over this platform where it just brings people together. And it's just so great to highlight.
yeah. It is. It really is like, oh, like I've played the division for a very long time,
Mhm.
and the people I've met, I still talk to them. You know, we still keep in contact, even though we may have a break,
Mhm.
or we'll go play other games or whatever. Just and we'll always go back. We always go back.
Yeah,
You know,
and
it's
and
just
that's one of the most common things I hear from so many people who reach out to the channel about the game is the fact that no matter what, there's something about this game, and more importantly, about the people you meet. Of course, any game's going to have a
yeah,
toxic element, but the reality is the majority of this division community It's just people who want to work together, help each other out. And for me, that's what really sets this game apart, from a lot of others.
Exactly. Yep. 100%. It's just really, you just can't get better than this.
Yeah.
You really can't.
I absolutely love it. So next on I know a lot of people want to know about, can you tell me about your whole experience being a Ubisoft star player? Like what was that? How do you, I don't even know how to put it into words. Like I'm going to live vicariously through you. But like what is the whole process? How did you find out? When did you find out? Like really what took place?
I actually didn't know a lot about the Ubisoft star player thing when they were sending out invites, and I was looking on Twitter. I'm like, oh, I wouldn't know really what this is. And then I was streaming one night. It was actually April Fool's Day for us. And they come into the stream. Ubisoft did, and
you're like, this is a joke.
A bunch of others, and I did. Like, I'm like, what is this nonsense? And they said check your emails, and the email was there. It was a life-changing experience. I had never been overseas or anything. It was just,
that's incredible,
amazing. It really is. Like, I never thought I'd ever probably, maybe in quite a few years' time, I'd go overseas, or and especially to do with gaming as well. Like, I'm not young anymore, and I have kids, and I was
trust me, I got you.
You don't really think of these things,
right?
But I feel so blessed to be able that they chose me and so many other amazing people.
All right. So as someone such as myself who rarely ventures into the dark zone, for you as a player who, it sounds like that's where you primarily play, what is it about that environment in this game that you're really drawn to?
That's a really good question.
Thank you.
I love PvP.
Yeah.
I really do. I love the banter that comes with it. Sometimes it goes a little bit too far than banter, but
right. Well, but again, there's always that element. But I would hope, and
exactly.
From what I've heard,
and with any game, you come across those people. But it's just fun. I love it. I love to have a laugh and do a bit of PvP at the same time. I do have to take it serious sometimes, but working as a team, that is really big. If you want to run in a group, you've got to stick together, stick tight, and, focus fire. It's just really good. And when you pull that off and you get that win, it's really good.
That's awesome.
I find that I'm very competitive in there, and I like to win.
Yeah, there we go. You're like, there's no, like, I want to win. Like, that's it. It's
that's right.
It's not rocket science. It's like, I'm not here to make it. Like, at this moment, like, don't get me wrong, I'm here to make friends, but I'm not here to be your friend. Like, I'm friends with the people who I'm in the squad with. Everyone else, at this moment, we're not friends. We could be in 20 minutes, but right now, that's not the case. So another question I'd like to ask is, obviously, as I mentioned before, you're known in the community for your amazing work. So for you, as someone who does virtual photography, what are the comments you receive that give you that motivation to keep doing what you're doing? You know what I mean? Like, obviously it's a passion of yours, you love it, but what is the feedback like, when you hear from the fans?
It's amazing and very overwhelming. I've had people, I'm going to try this game, and I don't take photos for that. I do it because I love it and love sharing it, and and to have people say this is beautiful, or I might try this game. It's like, you really should. It really is amazing. The story, the open world, everything. I just love it. I really do.
So to finish this up, I guess I'd like to ask you 4 questions. And these are 4 questions I'm going to ask every person that comes on this, comes on the show. So the first one I'm going to start off with is, if you had to choose one build that you could run, like just one build whatsoever, and I'm going to assume for you it'd be a PvP build based on our conversation.
Yep.
What build would that be, and why would you want to run with it?
A nasty one. That's what we got to run, and that definitely includes the Eagle Bearer. That is an amazing gun.
Yeah.
Definitely in love with that one, and even the look of it is.
It's one of the most. It's a badass weapon. Like, the thing is sick. Yeah,
yeah.
it really is. It really is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Probably unbreakable on the chest. Not always. It just depends who you're fighting. And just mix it up with the talents on the backpack. Like I said, yeah, just depends who you fight. But to have that extra survivability on the chest piece is definitely needed most of the time. So
I'm sure it comes in handy. That's awesome.
Definitely.
That's
it
awesome.
Does.
So my next question, and my answer to this is no, because I just haven't as yet, but have you ever, and this is on your own playing solo, have you ever just gone rogue in the dark zone on your own, seen someone and said, you know what, I want to take their stuff. Like, I want what you have right now.
Yes.
No, that's so crazy. I could do that. I feel so guilty. Like, I've said this, you know, I've interviewed a few other people, and I say at the same time, I'm like, I just feel so bad. Like, first of all, realistically, if I tried to take someone's stuff, they would take mine first. Like, I'm just telling you right now, it's just not, it's not, I'm like, look at me. And I'm like, I'm dead 2 seconds later. But so that's something you've done. Like, you've just been like, you know what, you know, hey, whoever you are, no, this is mine now.
Yeah. So usually I would check in the nearby list and see what level they are. If they were a low level, I wouldn't touch them. But yes, if they were up there a little bit, I wouldn't give them a chance.
Why not? You're like, you know what?
Yeah.
Guess what? This is happening.
That's my stuff.
Well, well, the thing too is that, you know, as someone who rarely goes into the dark zone, it's a risk you run when you go in there. So you can't get upset if someone takes your stuff, because people are in there to take your stuff. That's right. Like, that's exactly what it represents.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So my next question, and so my next question is, have you ever either come close to or actually completely like rage quit this game because of something that's happened? Like, you know, you're in the middle of like you have. See, I love the honesty. Yes. What happened? Like, give me details. I want details.
Probably quite a few times when I've lost a fight in the dark zone because I haven't won.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
just
funny.
Not a good feeling. I don't like to lose.
I don't like
it's
it.
like, God damn it, I should have won that.
You're like, that was mine to have.
Done something. Yeah, that's right. And honestly, it has. It really has. I have closed the game many times.
Yeah, I've done that. I think it happened for me. Like, no, never mind. We're not going to get it. This is about you. Never mind. We're not going to get it. I don't want to expose myself to this stuff. Never mind. I'm not going to. Nope. I've never done that ever. Never have I ever rage quit the division when someone's taking my stuff. Oh gosh. I can vividly remember. Like, seriously. Anyway, I don't want to relive. And it's funny actually, because real quick, you know, as I'm looking, and I'm going to put this picture up right now, one of the pictures you sent me is of an agent cutting the rope in the dark zone. And honestly, that takes me back to a dark time, Natalie. Like, I don't appreciate it. You know, you talked about the fact that people send you, you know, comments saying, oh my gosh, I want to try this game. I see that picture and it takes me back to a very sad time. No. Okay. I'm going to share this. So in the first division, the LMG Big Alejandro. Well, hang on. Yeah. Okay, we're going to. You brought that emotion out. Yeah. So in the first division, it's happening. The Big Alejandro was an LMG you could only get in the dark zone. Now, I don't know if that's still the case, but when I was hunting for it, it was. I spent weeks and weeks trying to get this weapon to drop. Finally drops. I'm excited. I go to extract. Out of nowhere, just a team just swamps. I mean, I'm just lit up within half a second. And that picture brings back that memory where it's like, and I'm sitting because I don't think it was you. Like, I remember the gamer tag's name. No, I'm not going to say it, but I remember the person's name.
You do.
Oh, there's certain things you don't forget in this game. There are certain things you just can't let go of. But I remember sitting in cover and I'm watching the clock. I'm like, okay, 15 seconds. I got this. Out of nowhere, here, like chatter, like no. And I just remember seeing them cut the rope. And I jump up like Rambo, like, I'm going to light you all up. And before I know it, someone's hit me with like, it was probably what was that one automatic, the showstopper, that automatic shotgun from the first game. And I was, I was dead before I hit the ground. I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, again, the pictures you have do invoke different emotions. I'm just putting that
Very
out there.
Unlucky. Yes.
And so finally,
I'm sorry, it brought back those
it's okay. I'll have a good cry after this and everything will be fine. So
go back to farming for weeks.
Exactly. So my last question is, with obviously, present game excluded, this is obviously a game that had a real impact on, gaming for you and whatnot. What is another game, and it could be from your childhood or something more recent, that really changed how you actually looked at video games themselves? And you know what I mean? Like something where you're like, wow, this to me is this is unlike something I've ever played before. And, for a lot of people, just something where
Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
Yep, that really hit me. That I have never ever cried playing a video game like I did. I'm not joking.
I believe you. I won't even. And for people who maybe haven't played it, we won't go into certain details. But
no, it was absolutely an amazing experience to play that. I'm so glad I did. It was amazing. It really was. It just really hit me. I don't know why, but it just took me to a whole nother place. And it just, I cried for days.
I know. I did too. I mean, again, once we stop recording, we'll compare notes and see, did you cry at that part? I cried at that part too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we will. We better.
Exactly. Right. No, we definitely will. So again, NATALIE-AUSSIE, thank you so much for taking the time chatting with me. You are so loved in this community, and your work and your attitude and just your energy towards everything you do with this. I mean, when I first put this out there that I was going to be doing this series, there were a handful of people's names that came out right out of the gate, excuse me. Yours was one of them. So again, thank you so much for taking the time and talking with me today.
Thank you so much. And good luck with it all. It's an amazing idea, and all the best, definitely. And look, thank you so much for asking me. It's an absolute pleasure.
Oh, me too. Without a doubt. I'm sure we will chat again soon.
Yes, we will.
All right. Thank you so much again. Take care.
No, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. When it comes to cosplay in the Division community, my next guest is not only known for his amazing talent, but also the passion he has for this game. This is my conversation with Agent MELIH. So my next guest is known in the Division community for being one of the cosplay. I don't even know really how to word this, so I'm just going to introduce you. Agent MELIH, thank you so much for being here and being a part of this first episode.
Thank you so much, Sergeant. I mean, it's a pleasure to be here, and it's a privilege, to be honest.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. It really means a lot. And it's strange because I think, and I've said this in previous interviews, what's amazing to me about this community is the fact that I know you from your work, and you may know me from my work. And it's one of those things where there's such a mutual respect, from people throughout the community. And that's one of the best things I think about this game.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, it's awesome. So starting off today, I guess the first thing I'd like to ask is this. Putting aside the cosplay, which we're obviously going to get into in this conversation, as a gamer at heart, which you clearly are, what is it about this game, in your opinion, that sets it apart from other games out there?
Well, like you mentioned, there are lots of games that provide the same kind of service, like multiplayer experience, people come together, play, and share the same experience, etc., like Division.
Right.
But what I think on Division, it is more realistic, first of all. Like the first game wasn't set in New York, the second game is in Washington, and people can relate themselves to their characters in a more realistic setting. For example, there's Destiny. Yeah, it is kind of same, but it's a fictionist world. Like It's fictional, it's not real. But when we think like an agent, actually, it could happen in our lives. Like we could be an agent.
Well, I think also the last year showed us like, oh, wow, green. There was a lot going on the last year as well that really, there seemed to be a lot of similarities of things that go on in the game that were happening in real life. So I completely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. That makes you very close to the game. And when you have a close community that you play every day again and again, and when you sign off from your game, you continue your talk on social media, it just makes you get closer and closer to each other. Eventually, you become a family. You don't have to play the game. You just talk daily about your life. And community in the Division is so close, so tight. Because when we are playing the game, we always get into the zone. It's a drama heavy game. We are having some like high points in the game, low points in the game, so
Right.
many emotions that connect each other. And I think we feel like we belong to that universe.
Right.
And when we belong to that universe, we create scenarios in our heads. For example, there are so many great writers in our community, and they keep trying to write some side stories, like fictional stories. And they ask us, according to your agent, what would your background be?
That's fantastic.
And for that instance, I have a agent whose background is a New York City firefighter. So this is the persona I chose. And another person has another story. So these stories make our experience more real. And we don't know each other, Division community people. We just know each other from the game, from online experience. But we feel so close because we all feel like we are living a story in that game that actually is a parallel to our real life. I mean, I hope I can express myself. Like, it is like a second life that we created.
No, it really is. And that's one common theme I hear from so many people out there, is that it's and that's one of the reasons I want to do this. There's such a feeling of community. And for me, it's unlike any other game I've ever played. I know one thing a lot of people want to know is, for you, how did you get into cosplay, or what made you, I guess, really being Division specific, what made you choose this game to really highlight those talents that you have in regards to cosplay?
Yeah, so before Division 1 came out, I was already a big gamer. Like, I've been playing since I was maybe 7, 8. I had Commodore to start with, and I owned all the PlayStations, etc.
Love it.
So, right? I had Atari, I had Sega handheld, like whatever you can think. So when the Division first announced pre-E3, I, for the first time, downloaded a action trailer of a upcoming game. I downloaded it on my computer, and I kept watching it because the presentation, New York in Christmas, everything is locked down.
Yep.
These guys are coming from dark to save the community when there's no one else. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
So I personally find myself always a person who's trying to be with someone who needs help, try to be with people that you can support. So this mentality of an agent who is a sleeping agent, you don't know daily life.
Right. It could be anyone. It could be right. And they say that it could be your neighbor. It could be your parent. Exactly. It could be anyone that you know.
Yeah, like carpenter or the store clerk, can be anyone. And the idea of I could be an agent and help people when in a crisis, when there's no one else.
Yeah.
It pushed me to put myself into that position. This was the first time I felt like, okay, I want to do a cosplay and I want to represent this game. I want to make myself like a character in the game and feel like I live this experience. And that moment when I first started playing Division, I was just, my wife is always like with me in the room. I'm like, look at the screen, how gorgeous this is.
Yeah.
Like, look at this. I cannot believe how can they like show this so well. So I was like so impressed, and it pushed me to be more involved. I started knowing people from our community. I saw their cosplay. Like, I met our cosplayers online, and I was so shocked how good these people are. I couldn't do it if it was me who was starting from scratch. I saw our pioneers in our community show these amazing cosplay works, and I messaged them. I asked their opinions. I followed their social media posts. And then from that, I shaped my agents.
Pardon me, I don't mean to interrupt, but you said something there that, again, I think is really important to highlight, is that you're reaching out to people, they're responding with the want and the desire to help out and help guide you on how to do what they're doing. And that's another thing I just love about this community.
One thing I can say for every Division community member I reached out is, the replies I get from them starts with, hey there, thank you for messaging. Of course, I would like to help.
Right.
And it ends with, please let me know if you need more. I can try to help you as much as I can. Always this.
Love it.
And when you have a community like this, how cannot you be like pumped? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna
You're
be
like,
one of
this is
them.
great. Yeah, like you said, you're building that family. Clearly, this is something you love doing, and you know, you'd be doing it regardless of social media or whatnot. What are some of the comments you get from some of your, you know, followers that really keep you motivated to keep going?
When I first started, what made me keep going was during my first convention in South Korea, like 5 years ago, I joined Comic-Con Seoul, which was held for the first time. And I actually posted a photo of this on my Instagram account, my first cosplay work for that Comic-Con, and my like 2 years later, same concept but more detailed. When I look at now, like it's crazy how much less detailed it was at the beginning, of course, which is natural. But even with that costume, when I started posting on my Instagram account for the first time after I created it, I received comments like, yeah, dude, you did great job with choosing that jacket, and like that gun looks great, and oh, you generally look great. So
the jacket is awesome. Like, I mean, just everything. Anyway, go on. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. But again, I'm looking at pictures as we're talking, and as is, you know, as is everyone else, and it's just the detail. It's just incredible.
Thank you very much. And then what happened was after that Comic-Con, until my next con, I put so much effort, and honestly, the difference was a lot different than the first version of my cosplay. And after I posted those photos, maybe you guys are seeing it from the side pose. I'm like looking down the ground. I'm looking from my side with my vector in my hand.
Yep.
So that photo actually was, let's say, like the point that I knew this was going to be so much fun, and I was on the right track, because I received comment like, dude, I thought this was a screenshot from the game.
Yeah. And it does. I mean, it looks like a movie trailer. It looks like a screenshot from the game. It looks like everything combined. You know, you see that. The thing is you see that photo, you know exactly what game. You don't need any. You do not need any title. You don't. You know what game it's about.
Yeah. That just makes you keep going. Like when you hear comments like that. And on Reddit, actually, one person made my year, maybe, by the comment he left for me. He said, can you send me this photo? Because I want to make it my wallpaper on my phone.
That's awesome.
Like, how can you go any higher than that?
You can't, because you're having this impact. I mean, that's the thing, is that, you know, and I don't think so many people in this community have that type of impact. And such as yourself, you don't even realize you're doing it, but it's like, you're inspiring people to want to try new things, and that's the most amazing part. So on that note, actually, for someone who's aspiring, let's say, to get into cosplay, because from what you just said, and again, this is not my wheelhouse, I look at it and go, I need to just, you know, call and say, hey, can you make this for me and send it? But it's one of those things where if you're talking to someone who's aspiring, getting into cosplay, and from what you've just described, having, you know, a costume, it's more of an evolution. It's not like, okay, this one's done, let's move on to the next. It takes time to all those little details. What would you say to someone just starting off to really keep them motivated to continue to create?
Honestly, in my case, what motivated me to go more, pay attention to what you're doing. For example, like you mentioned, I don't feel like it's complete when I work on something if it's not showing details that like adds more meaning to the cosplay.
Right.
If someone is starting the cosplay project and doesn't know where to go, what to do next, like we discussed before at the end of this interview, find the community. This is so important. There are so many forums, there are so many pages and social media. Just connect with people and then ask for their experiences. For example, where did they get something they got, or how did they sew something? What did they use? These kind of things will show you the way, the first step, the second step, the third step.
Right.
After you take those steps, then it's gonna be your way, because first you will follow maybe someone experienced who is gonna show you how to start things. But after a while, you will notice that you got the hang of it, and now it's your time to like put your own style.
And one thing I love about what you said is that, you know, you started this with your character, you personally, your backstory. You know, I'm looking at the pictures, and it's like, hey, is that a Spider-Man, you know, trophy hanging from you? Why does he have that? And you know what I mean? It makes you think about when you have that, that's where all those little details come in.
Yeah. I mean, like I mentioned, my character is a firefighter from New York, and Spider-Man is our friend in the neighborhood, the superhero. So I just wanted to connect all my backstory with these kind of small details that just shows my my details in my character. For example, I added the FDNY patch on my backpack,
right?
Showing that I daily life I use this backpack for maybe going to work, but now I'm called for operation. That is my main bag right now.
Got it.
So it's always like a homage to my character, to my past, to my backstory.
That's awesome. It's amazing. Just absolutely amazing. So next, I'd like to ask you 4 questions that I'm going to be asking everybody who's on the series, and it's really just based around the actual game and your gameplay itself. So the first one being, if you had to choose one build in the game to run, just one build to run with, whether it's PvE, PvP, what one would you land on?
One build is always difficult, isn't it? Because people always
it's impossible.
Like, okay, I have 2 builds. I choose one for the different things. But if I have to go with one build, and
let's say let's start with this. Do you typically play PvP or PvE?
I'm a heavy PvE guy. I really.
So am I. I'm right there with you. So let's say you're running solo PvE. What build would you? What's your like go to right now?
It is my DPS build. I go. In the DPS build, I am rocking my Burnout assault rifle named Thamas, named Tam. And of course, Baker's Dozen is my secondary. And my skills are Revival, Hive, and the Shield. So this is my go-to.
Are you running Glass Cannon with that? Like, are you like?
Of course.
Oh, see, I can't do that. I try and I blink, and I'm like, damn it, happened again. So based on your previous answer, I may know this answer, but have you ever gone rogue in the Dark Zone on your own, just completely solo and just taken someone's stuff? Like you've seen them and said, you know what? I want what I want what you have. I'm going to take it now.
Well, I can answer this no first. I hate when people go on rogue on me. I hate it. Like I cannot describe how much I hate it. So I wouldn't do it with someone else.
Right.
Also, if I'm like collecting the DZ points and due to hacking the systems, I became rogue accidentally, not because I'm killing someone. And other people see me as rogue and they try to attack me.
And they try to take you out. You're like, I'm not trying to steal your stuff. Exactly. No, I feel the same way. I mean, it's so funny because, and again, if we go into the Dark Zone, that's what it's there for. So we have to know that, you know what I mean? So I understand the concept, but for me, I'm like, why can't everyone work together, man? Why are you trying to take my stuff?
Exactly.
Next question is this. Have you ever either actually rage quit this game or come close to rage quitting this game when something's happened during your gameplay? And totally honest, like I can say right now, I definitely have. Has that ever happened to you?
It happened in 2 different occasions.
There we go.
First, related to our previous question, I had an exotic I've been looking for ages in Dark Zone.
And was it Big Alejandro? Was it from the first game?
Exactly.
No way. See? Oh my. Okay.
Because
go ahead.
I couldn't get it. Because it was so dark. It was so hard to get it, and Dark Zone was giving it away to everybody. So I was like trying to farm Dark Zone, and I was trying to find a server that is not full of players. Anyway, I got it from a boss I was going for, and of course 4 very nice rogue players pinned me down and got my exotic, and I'm like, okay, I'm done because I've been playing like 2-3 hours already.
Oh yeah,
got that, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna continue more.
My final question today is, with the present game excluded, obviously we love the Division so much.
Yeah.
Can you name a game from your childhood or more recent that really changed the way you looked at video games entirely?
Again, I have been a huge Assassin's Creed fan. Actually, I started Assassin's Creed very late. I started the Assassin's Creed 2 like in 2010, if I'm not wrong. But again, the setting, first with the Italy, of course,
Right.
the characters, the ambience, it just hooked me up so much. I couldn't just stop. I kept buying the next installment. Actually, after I cosplayed Division, my goal was doing the Unity, Assassin's Creed Unity, Arno cosplay.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get into it. But yeah, Assassin's Creed was another thing that really changed the way I played the game. I look at the game. It was another very important franchise for me.
It's amazing. It really is. And once again, Agent, thank you so much for taking the time and chatting with me today. You know, I'm not just saying this. I've been following your work, and not in like a creepy way, but I've been following your work for a while. It's so amazing, the detail. And, you know, I'm looking at, for instance, a picture you did the other day, the one with Vivian Connolly, and just everyone. It's just wonderful to see so many people working together, and just know that so many people love and appreciate your work. And once again, I want to thank you so much for taking the time and being here.
It was my pleasure. When I first hear this, like you wanted to have an interview with me, I was so happy, and it's an honor for me. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And honestly, I feel the exact same way, because I you know, this went from idea to execution really fast. And I'm like, who's going to want to talk to me? I just start, you know, I've been playing the game since game one, but I just started Division content about a year ago when I started the channel. And it's just so amazing for me that other people actually, you know, again, it goes back to something we've said numerous times. This community is unlike any other. That's why I wanted to start this thing. That's why I'm so thrilled you were on this first episode. So again, my friend, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, you're doing a great job, because we need this. Division community needs more. And now we don't have state of the game anymore. These kind of like come togethers are so important for us.
Thank you so much. That really, really means a lot. I'm sure I will have you on again, and stay safe. And we will talk again soon, my friend.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, take care. Thanks again.
You too. Bye-bye, Sergeant.
Bye-bye. My final guest today is someone who I admire, not only because of the amazing content that he puts together, but also because of his work ethic and his dedication to this game. This is my conversation with KAMIKAZEVONDOOM. So first off, Mr. KAMIKAZEVONDOOM, thank you for being here, man. Like, sincerely, I really appreciate it. I've been a fan of yours for a while, and thank you so much for being a part of this first episode of the series.
Hey, man, thanks for having me, and I am a big fan of your work as well, man.
Oh, thank you, man. That honestly, that really, really means a lot. And, you know, I think one of the things that a lot of people like to know or want to find out, you know, from you is, how did you get, or what was it about the Division that made you want to really create content for this game, would you say?
Okay. Well, I started about 1.7 in the first game. So the Division 1, I guess we call it now.
And is that post, or is that before or after Survival? I'm trying to remember. I don't remember when Survival came out. Was that 1.8 or was that?
No, so 1.8 was Resistance, where they came out with the Horde mode kind of deal, and West Side Pier.
Got it.
Survival, that was probably a year prior to that. But the big thing was the game was slowing down and PvP was really ramping up. They had the Dark Zone had 9 different zones. It was just all about PvP, and just everyone wanted to be in the Dark Zone. Obviously, there were some people that loved doing those, what were they called? Incursions?
Yeah.
Those were pretty fun to do, but for the most part, before West Side Pier, Resistance, and all that was added, it was pretty much a PvP mayhem. And for me, my biggest thing was builds. I really like to make builds. And I would go to college and watch some YouTube videos. And then when I was done with college, I'd go home, play the Division.
It wasn't something you'd even really plan for. It's just something that happened naturally, meaning you're a fan of the game, you're playing the game, then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I have a knack for kind of putting these things together. Let's kind of see where it goes.
Right. And then you mix that with my military background. So I've got, like instructor skills, public speaking, all of that, evaluator skills, whatnot. So it's very easy for me to explain or go, deep dive into certain numbers and try to help the normal man out.
Well, and I think a lot of, no, and absolutely. And I think one thing a lot of people forget is that the majority of the Division community are people who play casually. They don't rip through the entire content as some of us may do, just devour it and like, where's more stuff, and I think that builds such as your own really, really help people out.
But yeah, it was just mainly all build centric. And then as I was getting the knack for content creating, I figured I'd do more stuff, whether it be news related or farming routes or vendors or whatever.
So my question really quick, going back to builds, and then we'll jump into some other stuff, is when you're deciding a build, when you're thinking to yourself, okay, you have an idea for a build or a template that you want to really put out there. How do you make that decision of this is ready to go? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's your process in deciding that?
My process currently is attributes. What attributes do I want, and spec solely into those attributes.
That's the way that, that's a really good, and really quick, not to interrupt, but it's one of those things I noticed as a player where if I would see a build such as your own, like, oh, I want to do that, and I'd put it together and I didn't do all the little details, I would get shredded in half a second. So I totally see what you're saying.
Right. And a lot of it is they develop this game to where you have to heavy spec into certain attributes for it to actually shine. So if you have a skill build and you want, your unlimited, seekers or whatever, you'd spec into, skill haste or a certain brand set or gear set.
Right.
Where nowadays it's, if you want armor regen, you spec fully into armor regen. And then if you want damage on top of that, you put crit. So then everyone's farming for armor regen crit damage or armor regen crit chance. And it just makes it to where the farming aspect is heightened because you really want these real niche items that only have these certain attributes. And once you get them, you're good to go.
We know that it's difficult because we are content creators to, put all this effort into, and let's put views and subs and all that stuff aside. The motivation for me is when you hear from someone who you've really helped out. What are some of the comments that you can remember in your mind that really made you say to yourself, you know what, this is exactly why I do what I do?
Oh man, I just got one of those. Hold on, I'll pull it up right now. So a few days ago, I did like an inventory management video.
Yep, I saw that.
And the first comment I got, let me see. I never thought I would enjoy watching someone go through their gear like you just did. Thank you for that.
That's awesome.
And basically the video was just me explaining how I personally would go through my inventory, my stash, and then I was given, tips and techniques. And it's just comments like that, like, man, I never thought I'd enjoy this, but I did. Thank you. And it's like, oh.
And this also goes back to the fact that, and not that we take things for granted because we know the game, but the fact is that there are a lot of people who would not have thought of what you were doing, as far as, oh my gosh, I never thought of trying to, organize my stuff that way.
Right. And even so, even as a creator, I'm sure yourself included, there's certain things that we do or we know in this game, but it's hard for us to explain it in such a way to help teach people. So there's a lot of things that we leave out that we do day to day that people would have no idea how to do.
Right, exactly. Just like you said, just management of your stuff, management of your time, things like that. So one thing I'm going to do for the series is ask every person I have on the same 4 questions at the end of the interview and just get like just an idea of what, or if this has happened to you or whatever. So
Okay.
if you had to choose one build that you can run in the game, like only one build, what would it be and why? And it could be for PvE, PvP, whatever you want.
Ooh, oh man. Oh my gosh. All right. So one build in
And solo or
Division
group, like
2.
it doesn't, solo group, it doesn't matter which one. Like if you had to, let's say, take the next month and only use one build whatsoever, which one would it be?
Armor Regen with Perfect Intimidate.
Nice.
Nice. I can't beat it. I run it all the time. I've got it on my game right now.
Hang on, I got to make that note so I know for my future build video. Armor Regen. I don't know why you're laughing. Like I'm being dead serious. I'm like, there we go. Copy and paste. Okay, cool. Next one, have you ever been on your own in the dark zone, like on your own and just gone rogue, like seen someone been like, you know what, I'm gonna take their stuff?
Yes.
Really? I can't do that. I feel so bad, man.
But see, where I'm coming from in the Division 1, that was something that was on a daily basis.
No, I know. And
like,
again,
hey, someone's extracting, let me go run down there and take it. I still have that exact same. Yeah.
And it's funny. I mean, and the other thing too is when, if I go into the dark zone, I'm ready for that to happen. Meaning you can't get upset when you're going to an area where that could possibly happen. And that's why if you don't enjoy that aspect, you can stay out. But again, that's crazy, man.
And I think the best part about it, and I'll give, like, you can run with me anytime, man, PvP.
Well, I'll do my best.
What I would say, more times than not, when they see that you're running by yourself, or they see that you're with only one other person, they'll either be nice to you or they're going to shoot you in the back and take all your stuff.
Well, it's funny
so
because
you always have to have that.
You have to have the mentality. I mean, and this actually goes into the next question. Have you ever or been close to completely rage quitting this game because of something that's going on, like during your actual gameplay itself? I can tell you straight up, I have. We'll get into that in a second, but I, without a doubt, have totally done that from the first division. I remember exactly what took place. But again, for you, has that ever happened to you or come close to happening?
To the point of rage quitting and just turning off the game, I think the only things that come to my mind are like really long survival games where like I'll die from like a random NPC right before I go to extract and kill the hunters.
Right.
Or maybe Resistance from Division 1 where we'll get up to like, floor 45 or floor 50 or something like that. And it's super insane. And then you don't finish it. So you don't get that floor on the leaderboard. And then you're like, crap. As far as like raging, I only really rage if like, maybe we're doing a legendary and we're about to beat something and then someone screws up and then we all have to start over.
Right.
Maybe I'll rage then.
Right. I got you. But it's not to the point of like what people think of rage quitting. You're not throwing controllers. You're not like, no, and just like flipping out.
Yeah. No, yeah, not at all. I think I'm getting more and more laid back with age, my friend.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you,
I'll start to be the gray beard.
Right. Oh, dude, I don't know, man. I will not confirm or deny I've possibly broken a few controllers in my day, not by throwing them, but again, that's for another day. Let's not get into that now.
Yeah, I mean, I have definitely broken controllers in my day, but as far as like Division 2, no.
Yeah, I know it's a much different vibe. That's for sure. So finally, my last question, my friend, today is, besides obviously the Division, can you name a game that changed how you looked at video games entirely? And it can be something from your childhood or more recent. Like, what's something that really got you?
That changed my outlook on video games entirely.
That just really, that made you,
I probably want to say Halo.
Oh yeah.
So I was a, really late 80s, but mainly a 90s kid. And throughout the 90s, we got, Sega Genesis in 64, where like GoldenEye back in the day when GoldenEye came out, you were like, oh crap, this looks amazing.
Yeah, like
But
literally
then,
a game changer.
right. But then Halo came out on Xbox, and all of a sudden you had this open world first person like experience, and it was just way out of this world, blew me away. Because
awesome.
Halo kind of changed it for everybody. Halo 2 was like the biggest game ever when it came out. I
remember
believe,
that.
like,
I definitely remember that.
But as far as lately, like obviously Destiny was a huge breaker. Like that made looter shooter open world like to a whole new level.
I wish that was third person. Like for me personally, I cannot play first person shooters and I hate it. Like no matter how I try, I mean, hopefully it'll change, but it's like, I just, you know what I mean? I completely lose my focal points, like my reference of where I am and all that stuff. And I hate that stuff, but I wish I could play the game because I'm missing out on a lot.
But then that's why the Division, you know, is its own special breed, is because it has all these different aspects and you still get to enjoy this very unique experience.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It really is. Well, my friend, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time and doing this. And on a personal note, you know, as I mentioned before, I'm, you know, a year into this, but I want to thank you for taking the time when I first started off and just reaching out. Like it made such a difference in like how I looked at things.
Amen. It's really hard to explain. I do appreciate the kind words, but you know, obviously there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands content creators out there, and there's only so many that actually have the, what's the word I'm looking for, the execution that you do.
Oh, well, thank you.
Whether it be in your editing, like you were saying, or whether it just be in the way you just speak. It's very clear, precise, and you know, another thing is the whole positivity and being kind and staying healthy.
I do appreciate that. I mean, thank you very much. That does mean a lot.
Yeah, man.
So awesome, buddy.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, again, much mutual respect. Thank you so much, and I'm sure I'll have you on again soon, my friend.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
You got it, buddy. Take it easy. Oh, now we're talking over each other. We've got those conflicting content creators. I want you say goodbye. No, you say goodbye.
You hang up.
No, you hang up. All right, buddy. Take care, man. I'll talk. We'll definitely chat again soon.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Thank
later.
you. See ya.
And with that, we are going to be ending the first episode of Diplomats of the Division. Again, I thank you all for your continued support. And as always, if you have any questions or comments or feedback, please let me know in the section down below. I'd also like to take a moment and thank all of the guests that were on today's show. It's beyond humbling that you would actually take the time to be on this channel. It's just amazing to me. And for everyone that hasn't done so as yet, I'm going to leave the links for all of their social media, Twitter, YouTube, all of that down below. Definitely check it out. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well. But most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.